Preparations are picking up steam to connect a rail line that will go back and forth between the two Koreas. The Korean Peninsula is seeing new changes that have opened opportunities that once seemed out of reach.
In 2019, we're expecting a second North Korea-U.S. Summit, as well as North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's first ever visit to Seoul. The world is already focused on the Korean Peninsula for the next historic summit.
From a promise of denuclearization to a declaration to the end of war, there are still many things that the three countries need to achieve in 2019. What changes await the Korean Peninsula this year? Arirang TV takes an in-depth look.
The White House has been in the spotlight since the start of the year. Eyes are back on Washington and Pyongyang as they work out the details of a second summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. While it's a sign of movement in the denuclearization talks that have stalled since last year's landmark Singapore summit, the key this time will be substance, how many tangible and concrete pledges the two sides will be able to seal and take another step in the right direction. The U.S. announced that a second summit will be held in late February after President Donald Trump met with North Korea's top negotiator Kim Yong-chol at the White House. In the meeting, there was also an exchange of letters for the leaders. The diplomatic flurry restored communication that had broken down for months. Though Pyongyang and Washington showed that they both want to hold another summit, just as important is what the agenda will be.
I think it's going to be a very, very simple agenda. We're not going to have tremendous amounts of time to develop some sort of massive, full denuclearization deal. I think both sides understand now that they need to take very small but concrete steps to get denuclearization rolling. Now, how you do that, I think you have to have an action-for-action agenda.
Although it's unclear what exactly will be on the table for discussion, the consensus is that the talks will need to result in a more specific outcome on denuclearization. Watchers in the U.S. say North Korea's words need to be backed by action so that the international community can trust the regime's sincerity.
I would think if I were President Trump, I would say, number one, the first thing we've got to have is a nuclear weapon freeze. We've got to stop your production of nuclear weapons. If we can do that, that's still not denuclearization. Denuclearization is reducing the size of the threat. That would only freeze or stop the buildup.
Throughout 2018, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un repeatedly said he was willing to dismantle his regime's nuclear program, even highlighting it in his 2019 New Year's address. But despite the pledges, progress towards the North's denuclearization ground to a standstill as negotiations hit one stumbling block after another. The U.S. insists that there can only be rewards after complete denuclearization, but North Korea has been calling on Washington to take corresponding measures, which include the easing of UN Security Council sanctions.
The Trump administration has been very reluctant to provide sanctions relief, the suspension of sanctions as corresponding measures. But Foreign Minister Kang has talked about having measures that are outside of sanctions relief, whether it's a declaration on the end of hostilities in the Korean Peninsula or humanitarian gestures. These kinds of things might be much more acceptable to Washington.
In preparation for the second Kim-Trump summit, diplomats at the working level met for talks in Sweden. It's widely believed that leading up to the second summit, working-level discussions will focus on finding a compromise over steps towards denuclearization in exchange for corresponding measures. Some options on the table are declaring an end to the Korean War, establishing liaison offices, and boosting humanitarian assistance. As for the easing of sanctions, the U.S. is very against the idea, so finding middle ground there is not expected to be easy.
I would be cautious of saying that sanctions would be removed as part of relief. I think it's more likely that specific sanctions might be waived because that's not a permanent thing. We've seen not a lot of consistency in the U.S. position apart from a commitment to keep sanctions in place until the very end. And so I think it's possible to say that we will keep the sanctions in place till the very end, but also waive them along the way to facilitate progress.
A heated debate on North Korea's denuclearization is taking place at this university in Washington. The participants are discussing the prospect of a second summit between North Korea and the U.S. They're interested in what the agenda will be.
Really giving anything, right? And in return, you're asking for real things like lifting of sanctions, pulling the troops out, stopping the exercise, real things, right? And I think that's been somewhat consistent in their strategy.
They say that North Korea was in a very difficult situation in terms of the international sanctions, so that may have been a factor that drove it to the negotiating table. But some critics say the Singapore summit last June bore little fruit, claiming that there was no definite pledge by Pyongyang to dismantle its nuclear programs, and called on the U.S. for a bolder stance this time.
And I think what's going to be important for this upcoming summit, or let's call it the next year or so, is the U.S. going to make a more forward-leaning type of move, other than simply saying North Korea has to do it first? We know that it's a non-starter. North Korea is absolutely not going to denuclearize first, completely, and then hope the U.S. does something. It's going to be a step-by-step process, and the U.S. needs to do a little.
2019 is expected to be another year of extraordinary change for the two Koreas.
평화가 곧 경제입니다. 잘 살고자 하는 마음은 우리나 북한이나 똑같습니다. 남북 철도, 도로 연결은 우리 경제의 새로운 활로가 될 것입니다.
나는 사회적 진보와 발전, 세계의 평화와 정의를 위하여 노력하고 있는 각국의 수반들과 보트의 사업에서 성과가 있기를 바랍니다.
The New Year's messages from the two leaders were brimming with hope and positivity. Things have been taking a turn on the Korean Peninsula following a fresh and unexpected momentum for peace in 2018. The first ever inter-Korean summit to be held at the cruise village of Panmunjom was a moment for the history books, shifting the two Koreas from decades of confrontation and anxiety to a newfound hope for peace.
우리는 또한 종전선언과 평화협정을 통해 한반도의 불안정한 정전체제를 종식시키고 항구적이고 공고한 평화체제를 구축해 나가기로 합의했습니다. 이제 우리가 사는 땅, 하늘, 바다 어디에서도 서로에 대한 일체의 적대 행위를 하지 않을 것입니다.
The world cheered as North Korean leader Kim Jong-un made his first public appearance. Kim until then had largely remained shrouded in mystery.
잃어버린 대북관계 10년을 극복하고 문재인 대통령과 김정은 위원장의 4.27 판문점 회담, 특히 문재인 대통령께서 월북했다가 김정은 위원장과 함께 탈북하는 그 모습을 보면 감동적이고.
Но у меня было такое ощущение, что два брата долго-долго не виделись. И они встретились. И вот когда вышел с самолета, или там шел, когда он уже шел навстречу друг другу, то многие люди здесь, в России даже, они плакали.
The two Koreas rapidly implemented their pledge to start an era of peace, not war. To demonstrate its willingness to denuclearize, North Korea publicly dismantled its nuclear test site at Punggye-ri, which had been used to conduct the regime's 6 nuclear tests. By doing so, North Korea showed its willingness to talk and showed its support for a peace regime. And history was made again a couple of months later in Singapore. Despite their countries being old foes, Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un became the first sitting U.S. president and North Korean leader to meet face-to-face. The summit reaffirmed the determination of the two leaders to find a new way.
한반도에서 전쟁 위기가 가셨고 그리고 남북 간, 미북 간의 평화적인 협상이 진행되고 있습니다. 이게 가장 큰 성과라고 생각이 됩니다.
Потом, когда ситуация изменилась и Северная Корея начала поступать на шаги какие-то к миру, да, к диалогу, мы, конечно, это восприняли очень позитивно. И то, что происходит сейчас, и то, что делает Ким Чен Ын, нам, конечно, очень нравится.
At the third Inter-Korean Summit in September, the two Koreas agreed to expand their areas of cooperation and to draw a line under decades of hostile relations. Another promise in the agreement was for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to visit Seoul, something that was anticipated by the end of the year, but never happened. But at the dawn of the new year, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was busy preparing some hidden cards to play. On January 7th, Kim made a visit to China. It was Kim's first visit to Beijing in 2019 and his fourth overall since becoming the regime's leader. It drew further attention as the visit came amid mounting speculation that a second Kim-Trump summit was in the works.
然后呢，从中国领导人的角度，金正恩直接过来亲自对这个习主席表达。这个朝鲜半岛的无核化问题，还有跟美国特朗普之间的会谈上的战略上的这种商讨，那么从对外角度呢，提高了这个中国对朝鲜半岛的这种影响力。
Kim has needs of China right now, economic, also to some measure political support. He's showing deference to China because of it. The question then becomes whether the Chinese will be prepared to do what presumably Kim would wish them to do.
Although it's unclear why the North Korean leader went to China, the overriding view is that Beijing plays a greater role when it comes to the North's denuclearization and the regime's internal affairs.
북한이 미국과의 특정한 협상, 특히 정상회담과 같은 주요 협상을 앞두고 중국과 사전 협조를 함으로써 북한이 취할 수 있는 행보에 대해서 중국의 지지를 확보하는 거죠. 그래서 만약에 북한의 제안에 대해서 미국이 거절할 경우 중국으로부터 후원을 확보할 수 있는 안전장치를 마련해 놓는 것이다. 그렇게 생각합니다.
Actually, Kim Jong-un's visit to see Xi Jinping, I think, is one of the indicators of seriousness about having a meeting with Trump. And so really, for the North Koreans, I believe that the meeting with Xi Jinping was about trying to show the U.S. and South Korea that North Korea has strategic depth, to create the perception that China kind of has North Korea's back. And then I think for China, the meeting was quite useful in order to project a sense of China's own interest in not being excluded from the process as it goes forward.
In fact, something that got the world's attention was Kim Jong-un's New Year's address. Kim said the regime could take a new path.
다만 미국이 세계 앞에서 한 자기의 약속을 지키지 않고 우리 인민의 인내심을 오판하면서 일방적으로 그 무엇을 강요하려 들고 우연히 공화국에 대한 제재와 압박으로 나간다면 조선반도의 평화 안정을 이루기 위한 새로운 길을 모색하지 않을 수 없게 될 수도 있습니다.
I don't know. There's been speculation. Some speculate, well, the new path is China. If we can't get what we want from negotiations with the United States, then we will embrace China more closely.
I think Kim Jong-un is smart enough to understand that if he went back to testing ICBMs or nuclear weapons right now, that could be a path to war. And I think it would be very foolish for him to do that. So I think he realizes that. I think his new path is very simple. All boils down to one word: China.
Whatever Kim's intentions were, it became clearer that China was also a key player in the ongoing denuclearization negotiations. South Korea and the U.S. view this as a positive sign. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is expected to visit Seoul after his second summit with President Trump. The South Korean government is looking forward to a declaration to formally end the Korean War, when President Moon and Chairman Kim come face-to-face for the first inter-Korean summit of 2019. But that hope largely depends on the outcome of the second Kim-Trump summit. Will last year's miracle continue in 2019? For the leaders involved, it will be another year of great responsibility that could shape the future of the Korean Peninsula forever.
For the next inter-Korean summits and North Korea-U.S. summits are higher than ever, as evident in how various inter-Korean cooperation projects are gaining momentum. And when this railway is finally opened, reconnecting the two Koreas, peace will be cemented on the Korean Peninsula. South and North Korea have chosen railways as a symbol of permanent peace on the Korean Peninsula. In the Pyongyang Joint Declaration, the two Koreas agreed to cooperate on projects such as connecting their railways and roads, reopening the Kaesong Industrial Complex, resuming tours to the North Kumgangsan Mountain, and setting up special economic zones. The Mount Kumgangsan tours were abruptly suspended in 2008, but now the two Koreas are working quickly to resume them. There are also high hopes that they'll reopen the Kaesong Industrial Complex. The industrial park was completed in 2004 and contributed greatly to economic exchanges between the two Koreas, but it was shut down in February 2016 amid a rapid downturn in relations.
대부분의 경우에는 북측도 이제 경제 개발에 대한 내부적 어떤 동의가 이루어진 것이 아닌가 하고 얘기하는 분들이 많이 있습니다. 특히 개성공단 금강산 관광에 대한 어떤 조건 없는 개방을 언급한 것은 우리 기업인들에게는 상당히 고무적이고 새로운 남북 관계가 전개될 수 있지 않을까 하는 생각을 하고 있습니다.
就是说，这个通过这个南北之间的这种经济合作呢，对这个北朝鲜来说是可以现在所处环境来说，应该是一个非常重要的一环。 我觉得打开这种现在北朝鲜的很多这个实际上的经济上的困难来说，一个非常有效的渠道，一个非常积极的信号。
South and North Korea are putting special focus on the project to connect their railways. The two leaders agreed in Pyongyang last September to hold a groundbreaking ceremony for railway and rail connections before the end of 2018. They achieved it and held the event on December 26th. With the project taking shape, South Korea is hard at work. Construction in Ulsan, Gyeongsangbuk-do province that began in 2015 is now entering its final stage.
속도는 200km 혈계 속도 구간이고요. 실제 운행도 200km 운행을 하게 됩니다.
그럼 이 철도 이 구간을 통해서 주로 어떤 물류들이 이동이 되는 거라고 예상을 하시나요?
지금 현재 저희 여기 계획되는 거는 일반 관광 차량은 하루에 5회 정도 운행을 하고요.
네.
나머지 일반 이제 물류 수송도 겸용을 하게 되겠습니다.
The Tonghae Line, which is being built as part of the Indo-Korean project, is set for completion in 2020. Along the 166-kilometer-long line, there are 64 tunnels. The trains that pass through these tunnels will be able to reach North Korea. The Tonghae Line, which passes through the Yeongdong area of Gangwon province, is a key rail line that's starting to take shape. The government is moving ahead in constructing the more than 166-kilometer-long Pohang Samcheok Railway.
과거부터 이제 북으로 올라가는 유일한 이제 교통수단이 철도였습니다. 그래서 저희가 건설하고 있는 총 연장 166km의 그 포항 삼척 이 철도도 이 부산에서 강릉 동해를 통해서 이제 북으로 올라갈 수 있는 우리나라의 물동량의 전초기지 역할을 할 수 있는 중요한 성과라고 생각을 합니다.
There has been some progress on the Indo-Korean Railway project since it started in 2002, but it's been slow due to a long patch of icy South-North relations. The last time a South Korean freight train went to the North Panmun station was over 10 years ago in November 2008. Park Kyung-soo researches railway policies. With 23 years' experience as a train engineer, Park drove a freight train to the military demarcation line when the two Koreas connected the Gyeonggi line in 2003.
이렇게 가까운 거리에 분단의 현장이 있고 전쟁의 상처가 남아 있고 또 그렇게 오랫동안 또 끊어져 있었구나. 그래서 정말 이 철도 연결이 굉장히 중요한 사업이고 또 이 길이 연결되면 어디로 달리게 될까 이런 고민들을 처음으로 직접적으로 하게 된 계기가 됐었고요.
The belief was if the two Koreas were connected via railway, they could enjoy shared economic growth and establish lasting peaceful ties. And now to realize those hopes, the two sides are conducting joint studies for the projects.
지금이라도 그러니까 남북 간의 합의만 된다면 아침 7시에 평양 열차 출발시켜서 그러니까 뭐 북한을 자극하지 않는 선에서 북한 쪽에 어떤 북한이 허용하는 관광지를 한다든지 아니면 여기서 뭐 대동강 맥주랑 평양냉면 한 그릇만 먹고 오더라도 그건 굉장히 의미 있는 어떤 행로가 될 것 같고요.
남과 북의 국민들 간의 마음을 잇는 길이기도 하고 민족의 혈맥을 잇는 대공사인 것입니다. 경제적인 효과를 언급하지 않을 수가 없습니다. 남북철도가 연결돼서 물자와 사람이 서로 오가게 되면은 남북 간의 정치, 경제, 사회, 문화 전 영역에 있어서 남북 교류와 협력이 실질화될 것입니다.
The Indo-Korean Railway project begins with modernizing North Korea's old and poorly maintained rail system. Once the lines are connected, aside from the diplomatic benefits, they can also serve as an engine for economic growth. There's hope that once the Trans-Korean Railway is completed, the Iron Silk Road that stretches all the way to Europe will shift from dream to reality.
那么如果这个南北铁道实现联系的话呢，现在基于这个北朝鲜的非常便宜的廉价的劳动力来发展这个加工业加工业的话呢，对他们发展出口主导型的经济来说是会有一个非常好的开端。
So there's a lot of interest, obviously, in this, even outside the peninsula. The challenges are, of course, twofold. One, it's going to cost a lot of money. A lot of money. I mean, they've done an assessment of North Korea's rail, and basically you're going to have to build it up from the bottom up.
The cost for connecting the Inter-Korean Railway is estimated at some $34 billion. But because North Korea's tracks are in such poor condition, the enormous financial cost of updating them is a problem.
그렇게 산정하더라도 이것이 한꺼번에 다 같이 되는 게 아니라 일단 기존선 개량 사업부터 단계적으로 가는 거기 때문에 이 비용 문제는 한국의 경제력이라면 충분히 감당할 수 있고 또 그 외에 주변국들도 여기에 적극적으로 투자하겠다는 의사를 밝히고 있거든요.
Last year on June 7th, South Korea joined the Organization for the Cooperation of Railways, a group of 28 countries, including North Korea, China, and Russia. This is expected to help the inter-Korean railway projects move forward with the international community.
특히 이제 다시 한번 강조하고 싶은 것은 이것을 남한의 정부나 기업만이 아니라 국제 컨소시엄을 구성해서 자본을 조달하고 또 운영도 국제 컨소시엄에서 남북이 주체가 돼서 할 수 있기만 한다면 어떤 상황이 오더라도 이 남북 철도, 특히 유라시아 철도는 중단되지 않을 거다.
Various sections are currently undergoing repair. Once the inter-Korean railways are linked, the Korean Peninsula will have a new opportunity to directly connect to the wider world. The peninsula can benefit from a connection to the Trans-China Railway that stretches all the way to Europe and to the Trans-Siberian Railway that would directly connect the Koreas to Europe as well. And this is the East Asia Railway network that South Korea has mapped out.
And Russia is at the forefront of this dream.
Passing North Korea via the East Sea, a new trip by Trans-Siberian Railway begins here in Russia's far eastern region of Vladivostok. The stalled Rajin-Hassan project is expected to get a boost as South Korea's new northern policy includes the reconnection of inter-Korean railways.
The Trans-Siberian Railway is a 9,300-kilometer line that stretches from Russia's eastern city of Vladivostok to the capital Moscow, and then connects to Finland's capital Helsinki. Construction began in 1891 and was completed in 2002. 2 hours by train from Vladivostok is the city of Ussurisk. Adjacent to the Korean Peninsula and the Tumangang River, Ussurisk has close historical links with Korea. Ussurisk is where Korea's independence movement took root in the 1910s. Here, there are relics and remnants of the Korean independence activists, with a handful of monuments and museums commemorating their sacrifices. Not only that, Ussurisk is one of the most important cities in the Far East, connecting via the Chinese Eastern Railway to Harbin, China, and the Trans-Siberian Railway. Exports from South Korea also enter the continent from right here in Ussurisk.
한국은 생산이 아주 많고 그래서 뭐 물품 같은 것이 많이 보낼 수 있기 때문에 기차를 통해서 보는 것이 경제적으로 볼 때는 아주 효율적인 것이라고 생각합니다.
Last year, on June 21st, around 2 months after his first summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, President Moon Jae-in made a state visit to Russia. As the first South Korean leader to address the State Duma, President Moon stressed how three-way cooperation among the two Koreas and Russia is essential, not only for peace on the Korean Peninsula, but for denuclearization as well.
작년 동방경제 포럼에서 나는 9개의 다리 전략을 중심으로 양국의 협력을 제안했습니다. 가스, 철도, 전력, 조선, 일자리, 농업, 수산, 항만, 북극 항로 개척 등 9개 중점 분야에서 협력을 더욱 강화해야 합니다.
И на уровне администрации города Владивостока мы так или иначе будем способствовать реализации всех этих 9 мостов. И мне кажется, что президент Мун Чжэ Ин выбрал очень правильное название для своей стратегии «9 мостов».
Politically, Russia is an important partner for bringing peace and common prosperity to the Korean Peninsula, but it's also a country with which South Korea can pursue endless economic cooperation in a range of industries. In an effort to build stronger ties, South Korea and Russia organized their first ever forum on regional cooperation. The heads of local administrations from both countries agreed to mutually beneficial deals in a range of areas.
Нам удалось договориться о некоторых новых проектах с нашими региональными партнерами в Южной Корее, в том числе с провинцией Канвон, об открытии еще одной паромной линии. Мы обсудили эту идею с губернатором провинции Канвон, господином Чой Мун Суном. Возможно, это будет направление Сукчо-Владивосток.
The district of Hasan in Russia's Far East, bordering China and North Korea, is the departure point for the railway connection project, the crux of the nine-bridge strategy. Currently, Hasan is connected by a 54-kilometer-long railway to North Korea's Najin.
This railway connects Ussurisk to port of Najin in North Korea. The goal of the Najin-Hasan project is to transport goods from Najin to ports in South Korea. This means once the Najin-Hasan project is live, the course that connects the two Koreas will also rise as a path of peace.
The Najin-Hasan project is a complex logistics project aimed at developing the railway that connects Hasan with the North Korean cities of Najin and Rason, which are nestled close to the Russian border. South Korea had also taken part in the project. The participation was halted in 2010, but in 2013, Seoul stated its wish to rejoin. So how far has the Najin-Hasan project come over the years? We went to talk to the company overseeing the project. Rason Contrans is a joint venture company sponsored by Russia and North Korea. The two countries established it in 2008 and began restoring the Najin-Hasan railway.
Это вот наш порт, это вот здесь вот офис, наш кабинет находится. Это вот Панамакс корабль, вот здесь вот уголь, и вот так идет погрузка. Это трюм. Это управление портом.
Да. Последний раз я был в Раджине буквально в конце Нового года, в декабре. Мы отметили с коллегами, вот, как часто, но ежемесячно. У меня основной фронт работы и офис работы находится в Северной Корее, в городе Раджин.
Russia and North Korea also began repairing the port of Najin. Najin port is adjacent to the borders of North Korea, China, and Russia, making it easy to enter the East Sea as well as the Pacific Ocean. It's viewed as the ideal port to send Chinese exports to Europe. But first, they need to get there, which is why a modern railway connection is desperately needed. The Najin-Hasan project has been under tremendous strain due to the rapidly shifting inter-Korean relations over the years.
Многие компании тесно связаны с экономикой США. И они боятся и не знают, как отреагирует правительство или Министерство финансов Северной Кореи, США, Соединенных Штатов Америки, отреагирует на участие каких-то компаний, даже в разрешенных.
But the Najin-Hasan project is expected to get a new lease on life when the two Koreas reconnect their railways. Chang Min-seok is a South Korean running a farming company in Hasan. He exports agricultural goods produced in the region to South Korea. He says he thought the Najin-Hasan project would help him lower costs, but instead he experienced almost nothing but trouble as relations between the two Koreas got worse.
여기서 블라디보스톡까지 또 싣고 나가야죠. 그리고 블라디보스톡에서 배에 실어서 한국으로 가야 되고. 그러니까 여러 가지 면으로 참 불편한 점이 많죠, 여기. 추가 비용들도 많이 들어가고.
He says he thought there wouldn't be a problem since the project does not violate sanctions on North Korea led by the UN, but America's unilateral sanctions on North Korea were another story. Those prevent any ship that's called at a port in North Korea from entering the U.S. for a year.
러시아가 나진항을 이용해서 자국산 석탄을 내보내는 건 문제가 없거든요. 근데 그쪽에서 주로 많이 신경 썼던 게 한국에 대한 수출이었고, 포스코도 시험 수입을 몇 번 했었고, 그러다 갑자기 나진하산 프로젝트를 깨버리면서 거기에서도 참 타격이 갔던 거죠. 한국에서 빠져나오면서.
There are currently 8 farming companies run by South Koreans in Primorsky Krai, and they have been feeling the positive uptick in inter-Korean relations.
남북 관계가 좀 이렇게 호전되면서 이 지역에 북한 주민들이 좀 많이 있었습니다. 그래서 이렇게 눈빛을 교환할 때 그래도 조금 더 부드러운 눈빛으로 교환하고 또 이게 스쳐 지나갈 때도 다른 때 같으면 약간 긴장감이 있었습니다. 그런데 지금은 그런 게 많이 누그러졌습니다.
They want peace more than anyone else. What hopes do they have that the Najin-Hasan project will be completed?
남북 청도가 연결된다면 지금은 이렇게 배를 타고 오고 비행기를 타고 오는 것보다 뭔가 한 선이 하나가 이어지기 때문에 굉장히 하나라는 그런 마음이 훨씬 저희들에게 더 다가오고, 그다음에 언제든지 이렇게 기차만 올라타면 한국에 또는 낮은 선봉 북한으로 들어갈 수 있다, 이런 기대감이 훨씬 더 크죠.
More than the economic benefits, these South Koreans are looking forward to enjoying a shared national pride. Opinions, though, are still divided about South Korea rejoining the Najin-Hasan project. Some say the reason progress moved at a snail's pace is the U.S.-led sanctions.
일단 현재 나진-하산 프로젝트는 러시아 석탄에 한정해서 그걸 이제 반출 반입을 하게 돼 있는데 컨테이너가 허용이 돼야 됩니다. 그래서 나진항 주변에 러시아, 한국, 중국 그리고 북한이 이렇게 4개국이 합작하는 국제적인 산업공단을 만들어서 컨테이너 물량이 한국에서 바로 생산되도록 하면 나진항 주변 사업이 더 발전하게 될 것입니다.
Various forms of inter-Korean economic cooperation are underway, but there's concern these economic exchanges might violate the UN-led sanctions against North Korea. Currently, North is under strong sanctions by the UN, so it is important to decide how to ensure such exchanges do not breach the punitive measures.
Russia, too, is paying keen attention to the outcome of the second North Korea-U.S. Summit. A U.S. commitment to ease sanctions on the regime would also help them a great deal. But there is an acknowledgement that sanctions will almost certainly remain in place unless North Korea demonstrates a concrete commitment to peace and denuclearization.
They need to be in place until the other side makes the concessions for which the sanctions were imposed in the first place. So if the United States and South Korea were to make a deal with North Korea to remove certain sanctions in exchange for certain North Korean successions, then they should be removed at that point.
All exchanges between the Koreas, Russia, and China are intertwined with the prospects of the Najin-Hasan project. So many are looking forward to the U.S. easing its unilateral sanctions as part of the corresponding measures North Korea has been asking for, and which will likely be laid out at the upcoming second North Korea-U.S. Summit.
평화협정이 체결되면 해결되죠. 사실 북한과 미국의 관계가 해결되면 우리 남쪽에서 정권이 바뀌더라도 지속 가능할 수가 있게 되는 거 아니겠습니까? 그동안에는 북미 간의 이런 이 군사적 긴장 때문에 개성공단도 사실 중단되게 된 거고.
Once a peace treaty is signed and all pathways are open, the task will be to ensure this peace endures. The time has come for the two Koreas to sit down and end the cycle of conflict and reconciliation and focus on lasting peace.
Young South Koreans have gathered to discuss plans for inter-Korean cooperation. With inter-Korean exchanges back on track, attention has been drawn to those involving the younger generation. Chang Kyung-tae, the deputy spokesperson of the Korean Council for Reconciliation and Peace, is a young expert on inter-Korean exchanges, having worked at the Kaesong Industrial Complex and Kumgangsan Mountain. Last November, a delegation of about 100 people from South Korea, including financial and political figures, visited Mount Kumgangsan. There, Chang met with young North Koreans and discussed ways to step up the two sides' exchanges.
딱 10년 만에 처음으로 금강산 관광은 아니죠. 금강산에 갔던 사례였고요. 너무 좀 안타까움이 있었습니다. 일단 그분들과 정말 자주 교류하고 왕래할 수 있었던 그 시기가 단절되고 또 10년이 지나다 보니까 또 그만큼 아무리 친한 친구도 고등학교 졸업한 지 10년 만에 보면 써먹써먹 하잖아요. 그런 써먹함이 좀 느껴지긴 했고요. 하지만 그럼에도 불구하고 아 반갑습니다. 이제야 만났습니다. 라는 좀 애절함이 있었던 것 같아요.
It's now up to the next generation to build upon the peace momentum on the peninsula. It's a view held by young Koreans from both South and North.
일단 기본적으로 해왔던 뭐 DMZ 지역에 대한 탐방이라든지 남북교류 협력에 대한 부분들을 이제 세미나하고 토론회도 하고 있는데요. 가장 중요한 건 직접 만나야죠. 사실 책으로만 보는 것과 글로만 이해하는 것과 다르거든요. 그래서 저희가 목표하고 있는 바는 뭐 한 7월 정도에 남북 청년 대표자 회의를 하자 이런 고민도 하고 있고요.
아직 한 번도 가보지 않은 이 새로운 길을 가는 것에 대해서 두려워하고 주저하는 분들도 많이 있습니다. 그런데 그렇게 주저하다가 기회를 놓치면 우리 민족이 다시 도약할 수 있는 절호의 기회를 놓치게 됩니다.
For decades, the peninsula has swung between periods of tension and reconciliation. While 2018 was a remarkable year of peace, many recall the previous year as a fraught with aggression and unprecedented tensions. It's time to break the cycle and figure out how to foster permanent peace. Ensuring lasting peace on the Korean Peninsula will be something for the international community as a whole to strive for.
In 2017, we saw a lot of testing, we saw a lot of confrontation. In 2018, we saw a turn to diplomacy. And in 2019, what I saw in the speech was Kim Jong-un doubling down on his hopes for a future relationship with the United States.
My bet and my hope is that there will be a good result in 2019, that diplomacy will continue, that we'll see consolidation of progress both on the inter-Korean track and on the U.S. North Korea nuclear track, and that by the end of the year we have sustained diplomacy. That's my hope, and I'm sticking to it.
그러한 비핵화의 개념에서부터 비핵화 로드맵 이런 부분에 있어서 보다 포괄적인 논의를 하고 그러한 공감대 속에서 대화의 진전을 이루고 제재를 해제하고 경협을 확대하는 그러한 좀 튼튼한 안보를 지켜가면서 하는 협상, 그것을 기대합니다.
Past this river is North Korea. From here, it is only 2.3 kilometers away. You can see the houses North Koreans live in with your naked eye, and when using a telescope, you can even see people walking by.
Despite being so close, South and North Korea have taken a detour lasting over half a century. Being the same Korean race, yet living as virtual strangers, it's been a tragedy felt by not only Koreans, but people around the world.
Each of the paths that cross the Korean Peninsula is open. This river too will change from the river of division to a river of peace.